The Leominster City Council meeting is funded in part by DeCarolis Insurance Agency at www.decarolisinsuranceagency.com and by Avidia Bank at www.avidiabank.com.
And this item falls under legal affairs. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
I am indeed, Mr. Chairman. 62-22, this is a continued public hearing. Pauline Cormier, Ward 2 Councilor, requests stop signs to be placed at the junction of 8th Street and Spruce Streets, both northbound and southbound. We had a public hearing on this on July 11th. That public hearing was continued to July 25th, and again until this evening. My name is Peter Angelini, the Chairman of Legal Affairs. I'm joined this evening by the other two members of Legal Affairs, Councilor Mark Bedanza and Councilor Pauline Cormier. And before I go on too far, I know at our last hearing, we received a referral from the Sergeant Robichaud of traffic, and unfortunately, four-way stop signs aren't allowed to be used as traffic control, according to the sergeant. So I'm going to, without objection from the other member of Legal Affairs, I'd like to turn this over to the petitioner and ask her how she'd like to proceed.
Thank you, Councilor Angelini. At this point, and I believe we've discussed this, I will request this during our formal hearing for leave to withdraw without prejudice. I think that this is a matter where there has been suggested, and Councilor Arninger made some very good suggestions as to alternatives. So I would like to pursue that a little bit further, and perhaps bring this matter up in a different format or a different way, again, to address this particular issue. I do still think it's a very, very serious issue on 8th Street, but I think that the best way to handle it would probably be at least withdraw, perhaps get together with the traffic officer and a few of the neighbors, and to discuss some potential alternatives to how we can better address this.
That sounds perfectly reasonable, Councilor.
Thank you.
Let me go to Councilor Bedanza, if I may.
I'm fine with that.
Any members of the council like to speak on petition 62-22? Seeing none, let me go to the public. Is there anyone in attendance this evening who would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to petition 62-22? For the second time, is there anyone in attendance this evening that would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to petition 62-22? And for the third and final time, is there anyone in attendance this evening that would like to speak on behalf of or in opposition to petition 62-22? Seeing none, before I declare the public hearing closed, I'd just like to say I think that's a wonderful idea, Councilor Cormier. And if you work with Sergeant Robichaud to perhaps come up with some alternative measures, hopefully can alleviate some of the problems that the folks in your ward are experiencing. And I know through the constant effort that you will make that happen in some fashion. Keep the people of Ward 2 happy as you try to do all the time. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I will declare the public hearing closed. I would like to give this petition, I would recommend we give this petition leave to withdraw without prejudice.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you get the public forum sheet? I doubt anyone signed up, but just in case. Okay, we are now going to hold the public forum. The public forum is an opportunity for any member of the audience to speak on a matter specifically listed on the council agenda. Speakers will be asked to come to the microphone and state their formal name and address, along with identifying the specific item or items they wish to address. Each speaker is respectfully asked to keep their comments within a 2-minute time frame. The council will not be responding or answering any questions. However, at the discretion of the council president, clarification may be given. There is nobody that has signed up, so I will ask, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak at the public forum? Once again, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak at the public forum? And for a third and final time, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak at the public forum? Seeing none, I declare the public forum closed. Move right along. When's the last time we've been running right on time?
Not for a few months.
Been a while.
Yeah.
August 8th, 2022 to order. And I'll ask that you all please stand and join me for a salute to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now take a roll call of the honorable members of the Leominster City Council, beginning with Councilor Bedanza.
Present.
Councilor Cormier.
Present.
Councilor Arger.
Present.
Councilor Angelini.
Present.
Councilor Brady.
Present.
Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr.
Present.
Councilor Deacon.
Present.
Councilor Frida.
Present.
And I am present. All 9 members are present this evening. Madam Vice President, do you have any records to approve this evening?
I do, Mr. President. I have the minutes of July 25th, 2022. I find them to be in good order, and I ask that they be placed on file.
Okay, if there are no objections, we will place the July 25th, 2022 minutes on file. Moving on to communications from the mayor, there are none. Moving on to petitions, first time on the calendar, there are none. So needless to say, it's probably going to be a very quiet meeting at the next meeting. Matters before the City Council, we have a financial report. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
I am. We began the fiscal year on July 1st, 2022, with a balance in the stabilization account of $20,675,366. We passed last meeting $146,878. We have pending from stabilization tonight an additional $82,000 for a total of $230,878 in proposed expenditures, leaving a balance of $20,446,488. That's the financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are there any questions or comments on the financial report? Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was looking for the summary. You know how we usually have the summary sheet that goes on top of the detail, the munis detail?
The comptroller was on vacation, so we didn't get one. So that, what I just gave you was my own mathematical computations using the last report and the stuff that's on today's agenda.
Okay, so the next meeting we'll get one because she'll be back. All righty, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions on the financial report? Seeing none, we will move right into items under finance, beginning with C-06. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
I am. C6, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, request an appropriation of $227,236 be made to the following expense accounts, the same amount to be from additional state funds released. This is to balance the current year budget. Landfill expense, $15,600. Additional maintenance on the property and lawn care. Landfill expense, $7,600. Increase in contract price for the current year. Plumbing inspector, $445. Key error in budget processing. Police drug unit, $5,250 excluded from the original departmental budget. Police part-time dispatches, $13,500 excluded from the original departmental budget. Planning clerk, $1,000, change in current year rates. OPEB, health insurance, $100,000, increases due to additional retirements. Health insurance, $83,841, increase in costs. So in a discussion with the comptroller, I learned, as it indicates in the preamble, that the $227,236 is the final adjustment to our cherry sheet. So that's additional revenue for general purposes that we received. And it was distributed amongst all of those that I read in order to balance budgets that were inadvertently, some things were left out, or there were slight changes to a few of the accounts. A lot of it's health insurance, which obviously increases all the time. So all of it was to balance the current year budget, and would be my position to grant C-6. Ask you to check with members of my committee.
Okay, Councilor Cormier.
I agree.
Councilor Angelini.
I'm in agreement as well, Mr. President.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-06. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-06 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-06 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
Order that the sum of $227,236 be appropriated to cover the following budget items, $15,600 to landfill expense, an additional $7,600 to landfill expense, $445 to the plumbing inspector budget, $5,250 to police drug unit, $13,500 to police part-time dispatchers budget, $1,000 to the planning clerk budget expense, $100,000 to OPEB health insurance costs, and $83,841 to health insurance costs, all to be charged to current year revenues. Move for the adoption of the order.
Okay, you've heard the request for the adoption of the order. All those in favor of adopting the order signify by saying yea.
Yea.
Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, the order on C-06 has been adopted. C-007, Mr. Chairman.
C7, DJ Mazzarella, Mayor, request an appropriation of $40,000 be made to the ITTF expense account, the same amount to be transferred from stabilization. This is to continue the necessary upgrades to the citywide Wi-Fi network. Specifically, they're upgrading equipment located at the Fire Department Building, Fire Station 2 and 3, and the Rec Center, as well as 210 Lancaster Street, as indicated in the blurb. This is all to increase and improve our Wi-Fi capacity. Would be my position, Mr. President, to grant C-7, and I'd ask you to check with members of my committee.
Councilor Cormier?
I agree.
Councilor Angelini?
I'll make it unanimous, Mr. President.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-07. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-07 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-07 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
Yes, order that the sum of $40,000 be appropriated to the ITTF expense account, same to be transferred from the stabilization account. Move for the adoption of the order.
Okay, you've heard the request for the adoption of the order. All those in favor of adopting the order signify by saying yea.
Yea.
Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-07's order has been adopted. C-08.
C-08, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $42,000 be made to the fire equipment expense account, the same amount to be transferred from stabilization. We have a letter from the fire chief dated July 21st, 2022. Dear Mayor Mazzarella, the fire department requests a sum of $41,142 for the purchase of 3 new hydraulic extraction tools for Ladder 1. This will allow us to move the current 7-year-old tools to Ladder 2, reserve status, replacing Ladder 2's 20-year-old tools. The battery-operated hydraulic tools, better known as Jaws of Life, being purchased are handheld equipment that firefighters use to extricate victims from automobile, industrial, and mechanical accidents. Each ladder truck carries 3 tools: spreader, cutter, and ram. These are, of course, very important for the public safety and the welfare of our citizens. Mr. President, it would be my position to grant C-8. I'd ask you to check with my members of my committee.
Okay, Councilor Cormier?
I agree.
Councilor Angelini?
I'm in agreement as well.
You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-08. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-08 signify by in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-08 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
I do. Order that the sum of $42,000 be appropriated to the fire equipment expense account, the same amount to be transferred from the stabilization account. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request for the adoption of the order. All those in favor of adopting the order signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-08's order has been adopted. C-09.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of an estimated $175,000 be made to the Police and Dispatch Department salary and wages account, same to be transferred from the collective bargaining expense account. This is to fulfill our obligations under the new contract, and fortunately, the city has reserved this money ahead of time and anticipated it, so it's not coming from stabilization, but from an account designated for that very purpose. Be my position, Mr. President, to meet our obligations, to grant C-9, and I'd ask you to check with members of my committee.
Councilor Cormier?
I agree.
Councilor Angelini?
And I will make it unanimous, Mr. President.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-09. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-09 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, By a vote of 9-0, C-09 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
I do order that the sum of $175,000 be appropriated to the Police and Dispatch Department's salary and wages account, same amount to be transferred from the collective bargaining expense account. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request for the adoption of the order. All those in favor of adopting the order signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, the order for C-09 has been granted. And the last item for finance, C-10.
C-10, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $464,000 be made to the Communication Project Fund. The same amount to be transferred from the Stabilization Fund. Accompanying the mayor's communication was a letter from the Fire Chief, Robert Sidlow. Dear Mayor Mazzarella, the Fire Department requests a sum of $464,000 for the construction and equipment purchase for the new 911 dispatch center located at 210 Lancaster Street on the second floor. The relocation of the dispatch center to 210 Lancaster Street will allow the city to combine both fire and police dispatch, improving the quality and response of emergency services. This is an exciting project. It's a good retrofit use for our property at 210 Lancaster Street. I know both chiefs have been down here talking about this in the past. Mr. President, it would be my position to grant C-10. I'd ask you to check with members of my committee.
Councilor Cormier?
I agree.
Councilor Angelini?
I'm in favor, Mr. Chairman, but I'd just like to tip my hat as well to the fire chief and the entire crew down there. They did a wonderful job on a very limited budget, a lot of sweat equity, and this will be a culmination of their efforts in tying everything together. So yes, indeed, I'm in favor of this.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-10. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-10 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-10 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
I do order that the sum of $464,000 be appropriated to the Communication Project Fund. Same amount to be transferred from the Stabilization Fund. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request for the adoption of the order. All those in favor of adopting the order signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-10's order has been adopted. Moving on to items under legal affairs. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
Legal affairs, yes, I am. Mr. President, we conducted a public hearing this evening. This is petition 62-22. Pauline Cormier, Ward 2 Councilor, requests stop signs to be placed at the junction of 8th Street and Spruce Street, both northbound and southbound. We had a public hearing this evening, and at the request of the petitioner, I'm going to recommend that this petition be given leave to withdraw without prejudice, and I would ask you to poll members of the Legal Affairs Committee.
Okay, Councilor Bedanza?
I'm in favor of that.
Councilor Cormier?
I agree.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Legal Affairs Committee to give 62-22 leave to withdraw without prejudice. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of giving 62-22 leave to withdraw without prejudice signify in usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0. 62-22 has been given leave to withdraw without prejudice. Moving on to items under Ways and Means. Is the chairwoman of Ways and Means ready to report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the attached list of individuals be appointed as election officers, terms to expire August 1st, 2023. At the last meeting, we received the entire list. Election time is upon us. It would be my position to grant, to confirm the appointments, and I'd ask you to check with members of my committee.
Okay, Councilor Idinger?
I agree.
Councilor Deakin?
I agree.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to confirm the list of individuals for an appointment. Is there any discussion? Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr.
Quick question, what does the red mean? There are some that are in red.
They owe me a training session.
Oh, excellent. And is there, I think that was the only other color, right? Was the red. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of confirming the list of individuals as elections officers signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, that list has been confirmed. Moving on to, there is one item under new business. There was a request to talk about 6-year contracts, so I'm going to ask, and I did work out with Greg Chapdelaine that he is available. So I'm going to ask that we take a vote to bring him down, the purchasing agent for the city, to the City Council chambers for an informational meeting relative to 6-year contracts on August 22nd, 2022 at 6:40 p.m. If there's no discussion on that, I would like to ask for a vote to...
I'll move it first.
Okay. We
I'll
have...
move to bring him down on August 22nd at 6:40 p.m.
Perfect. And seconded by Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr?
Yep.
Okay, so there is a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion about this item? Given none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, he will come down on August 22nd, 2022, 6:40 p.m. Madam Clerk, if you can just officially send him something, but I did work this out with him, and I mentioned it tonight when I saw him as well, so I know he knows, but just give him a formal reminder. Is there any other new business? Councilor Brady.
Yeah, actually, I'm hoping it's under new business. I just have a couple things.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I missed the retirement celebration for Judy Sumner. I didn't know what was happening. I'd like to have a citation written up by a council.
Sure.
And perhaps even invite her down so we could present it. I don't know if anyone here was able to get there, but I think we owe it to her. She put in a career here in Leominster. And secondly, today is the actual first anniversary of Celebration. It was a fundraiser, a Leominster legend, Cello Ciccone. It was to raise funds for ALS. He raised over $60,000 that one day last year on the 8th, and unfortunately succumbed to the disease. And tragically, his wife passed away this year too, so the family really went through a hell of a year. But just wanted to make that recognition.
Thank you very much. Okay. Is there any other new business? Any old business to come before Councilor Angelini?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a little out of character for me, and I go way in on old and new business, but I felt a desire to do so. I mean, at the last meeting, I recall, was Leominster Day at Polar Park, and I found out after the fact that our distinguished council president actually threw out the first pitch that night.
This is true.
But he was too humble to say anything.
Yeah, the mayor actually asked me to do that. That was very nice of him. I told him I appreciated the honor he did. I guess the honor was his, and he asked me to do that. He knows I am a season ticket holder there, and I go to several games, and so he asked me to do that, and I appreciate that recognition as well. Thank you.
One more matter on the old business. I'd like to officially welcome our new assistant city clerk, Maribel Perez. Congratulations.
Welcome, congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And just an FYI, not all these meetings are this short and this easy, so we're starting you off very soft, very soft. All right, is there any other old business to come before the City Council? Seeing none, anything under the community calendar? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr, seconded by, you want to second it? Councilor? Sure. Seconded by Councilor Bonanza. All those in favor of adjournment signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, we are adjourned. Enjoy the rest of summer. It is going by fast.
I know where I'm going to go to find contestants.
What's that?
If they ever have hand-raising Olympics, I know where I'm going to go to look for contestants.
The Leominster City Council meeting is funded in part by DeCarolis Insurance Agency at www.decarolisinsuranceagency.com and by Avidia Bank at www.avidiabank.com.